Alright, David Harry here, and in this video I'm just gonna kind of go over a little introduction, as it were, to a microphone modification that I've been working on for a short while now. So basically what it is, for some time I've been getting a little bit annoyed by the way a lot of microphones drop into the field of view, especially when using like a really wide angle lens for the likes of, in this instance, the GoPro Hero 8 Black, but any action cam really, or any kind of camera which has got, you know, a very wide field of view or a wide angle lens on it. So what I've been trying to do is come up with something which will get me around that by repositioning the body of the microphone so there's no way it can possibly enter the field of view. So with all that being the case, then what I decided to do was to take the capsule out of my favorite video mic, which is the little tiny RODE VideoMicro, because for me personally it kind of just does a fantastic job, and a lot of that is based on the quality of the capsule that's inside the mic. So what I've done, I've took the capsule out of the RODE VideoMicro, and then I've repositioned it in a different type of body which is designed to keep, like, you know, the whole thing, the mic body and everything, well outside the field of view. So the only real way that you can do this effectively with an ultra wide kind of field of view or an ultra wide lens is to mount the body vertically. So anyways, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to cut away indoors and show you the basics of what this mic is and where I'm up to with it, and then where I plan to go with it, essentially, to make it something that is the easiest thing to build. If other people are into it, then I'll pop back out here and just carry on doing a little bit more with it. Alright, so to a quick overview of how I go about putting together this video mic mod. And the first component, and arguably the most important, is the capsule. So I need a cardioid capsule because I want to use a front-facing polar pattern in order to be able to do proper effective vlogging with it, in which case I use the one out of the RODE VideoMicro. Now once I'm done taking the capsule out of this, I don't let the body go to waste. So what I do, I then replace the capsule in the micro with this little 10mm Omni capsule, which is a Primo EM172. Now because this body on the RODE VideoMicro is such an excellent design, by the time I put like another capsule in there, it just gives me another great microphone. So right now this microphone is a fantastic omnidirectional video microphone. The use for such a mic might be a little limited, but if you need an Omni mic, this is amazing. I will do a video about this shortly as well and give some great examples of how it sounds. And then the next thing that I need is a body to host the capsule in. So what I do, I buy these really cheap nasty microphones which on their own sound terrible, but what it is, they've got like these plastic bodies on and a mesh filter at the top and stuff, and I chop these up and do all kinds of things with them. I even used, like, you know, the rubber stopper on the end and parts of the cable for other stuff as well. Now I buy these in like tens and they cost me literally £3.50. So let me show you exactly what I do with this mic. So very conveniently, this microphone has got a ridge here. Now I use that as my cut mark with a hacksaw and basically cut the mic in half like that. So like I say, I will use like all the bits out of this for various things, but let me get that out the way. And then I'm effectively left with like the end of the microphone like this, which gives me something to put a capsule in, and then also a base to work with here. Then the next thing that I need is some way of connecting that microphone body to the cold shoe on a camera. So what it is, I use one of these cold shoe adapters, which very luckily the circumference of this element here happens to fit there on the microphone. So what I end up doing is gluing that to the bottom with super glue, and it gives me a really strong mount to the bottom here for the top piece. And then also, as well as having a cold shoe mount there, I've also got a screw thread
there, so if I wanted to, I could actually like screw that to the end of a pole for something else. Now, before I get to that part, I also have to drill a hole into here. Now at this moment in time, I'm using a 3.5mm mic adapter in here, so I can then wire the capsule to a 3.5mm mic adapter. But in the future, what I'm thinking about doing is just doing a hardwired cable through. And the reason for that is because the cable run for this microphone is always going to be really short, because it's designed to go straight on the top of the likes of an action cam or very close to the microphone port on any other camera that it's going to go on. So basically just putting a hole in and feeding the cable in and then kind of affixing it from the inside is going to be well enough for this, and will also kind of shorten the process and make it a bit easier. But let me now show you what I end up with after I put all these things together. So ultimately this is exactly what it looks like, and I appreciate this is going to look a bit nuts, but just bear with me on this one. So basically there's the body there, all glued onto the bottom there with this cold shoe, and also there's my 3.5mm jack socket there. So literally I just kind of, you know, pop a cable in and then just pop that into the camera. But like I've just been saying, because this is going to have a very specific use and only requires a fairly short cable run to go from the top of a camera to its mic port, I'm thinking about just using a variation of this where I tie it off on the inside, so it only requires a hole and no kind of cabling or wiring to a socket, and then that way you can just kind of like glue it off on the inside or use some hot glue to secure it from the inside. Now what I then do and please don't laugh, but when I open this up, what we'll see in here is the capsule of the micro. Now as you can see here, there's no great finesse or anything going on here. This is literally just kind of like suspended with some foam that I've got laying around. I mean, this is just packing foam, you know, the kind of thing you find inside of a box from Amazon or something. So literally I just kind of wrap it in there, the cable, and then as we can probably hopefully see there, by the time, you know, I solder the capsule to the end of the cable, it'll just self-position itself forward like that, and hopefully as well, you know, we get a little tiny bit of like, you know, acoustic dampening with this foam here. I mean, it's, you know, it's safe to say that there isn't really any great kind of like acoustic isolation going on here, but you know, for all intents and purpose, most microphones don't do it that well anyway, that go on top of a, you know, a camera and whatnot, so it's not that bad, to be honest. Now quickly as well, the inside of this dome here also has a thin lining of foam, which is great. So by the time you kind of put it all together like this, let me just put it back on, it's already got a slight little bit of wind protection in there, which is definitely going to be, you know, good for like being close to it indoors, and may well work slightly outdoors. But let me give you a couple of examples here of what I use with it. So the main thing that I use is this, which is just a traditional foam filter for a handheld microphone. And in this video as well that I've been doing, all the stuff outdoors has only had this on it, and there has been a mild breeze. I find that in practice, this is mostly all that I ever need to use, but on failing that, I also have a dead cat as well. Now again, I know this looks a bit crazy, but the thing is, because it all mounts vertically and whatnot, again, even with the dead cat on, it stays out of the field of view and what have you. So let me just give you one final look at how mad the system looks once I've got it all together. Okay, and so there we go. There is exactly what it all looks like at the end of the day. Now I know this may look a little unfamiliar for people who use video cameras and stuff, but I can guarantee you it works exactly as it's supposed to do. Now the thing is, you can argue and say, yeah, all you need to do here is put like an offset bracket on the back to put like a traditional mic on, even with a dead cat on and what have you. But the thing is, a microphone like this just goes straight onto the camera system itself, so you're going out with less bits and pieces and whatnot, so there's less bits to worry about, less bits to lose, and less points of failure and such, do you know what I mean? So yeah, this is only an option. I'm not saying it's going to beat a ton of other things, but right now I'm having a ball with this. I think it works dead well. And here's what it looks like with my little foam filter on. And so there we have it then. This is exactly what it looks like with the foam filter on. And this is the exact system that I'm using today for this video. So I've just gone out with this exactly as it stands with the foam filter. And something that has massively surprised me as well is just how good this arrangement is to do with knocking out mild breezes. And I would go so far as to say that I've never used a small mic system with only a foam filter on that knocks out as much breeze and kind of like has the least amount of interference with the tonality of the capsule as well. Anyways then, so that's it. So back outdoors and I'll carry on with the video.
Okay, so now that we're all on the same page here and you've seen exactly what the microphone looks like, and granted, yes, it does look a little bit mad, but in all honesty though, I don't care how something looks as long as it performs properly. So right now, just to prove exactly how well this microphone is doing at the job that I've specifically modified it for, I've now got the GoPro Hero 8 Black in, what is it, super view, so it's widest field of view. But on top of that, I've switched off the stabilization. So obviously, you know, it's going to be a bit wonky and unstabilized, but that's okay for this part of this demonstration, because what I'm showing you is the absolute widest field of view that this camera is capable of doing. And as we can obviously see, well, as we obviously can't see, we can't see any microphone dipping into the field of view and getting into the frame in any way whatsoever, because right now the way the mic is positioned, it literally is right on the same plane as the front glass element that covers the lens on the Hero 8 Black, so there is no way it can ever possibly get into the field of view. Now just quickly as well, I'm just going to pop outside now by like the busy main, I would say pop out right side now. I'm not going to do it right now, I'll be doing this in a bit when I finish doing the video, but I'm just going to cut away to something that I'm about to do later to give ourselves an idea of the cardioid pickup pattern of the microphone. Okay, so just a quick test now for the cardioid characteristics. So I'm going to turn around into the traffic. So we should be able to hear the traffic quite loud there, so then cars go by. And then when I turn it back around to myself, we should notice now that the traffic drops off quite a bit. Anyways, back to whatever I was doing just before I come back out and did this part of the test. Alright, so with that out there just then, what we should have heard are characteristics which are basically the same as the RODE VideoMicro, which does a really good job at rejecting from its rear and its sides. Because don't forget, this is essentially really is a RODE VideoMicro, just kind of repackaged into a different body. Now just to kind of end this video, I'm just put it back into linear mode with the stabilizer on, and the stabilization that I'm using here is just like the weakest version of the stabilizer as well. I tend to use the weakest version quite a lot when I'm just doing kind of slow paced walking, just because it's gonna be like less damaging to the picture and whatnot, and possibly give us a little bit extra kind of field of view and what have you. So anyways, yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of try and refine this little setup so it's hopefully like fairly reproducible. And by that what I mean is I'll probably get shut of the 3.5mm jack socket, because that's a bit of a pain to put in and all the rest of it. Also, if I can find another body which maybe even reduces the size a bit more, I'll try for that as well. But as it stands right now, and as I probably mentioned while I was showing, you know, the microphone in bits and how I go about putting it together, it is actually very cheap to do outside of obviously needing the capsule for it. Now the thing is, at some point I will kind of be mega happy with the results, and I'll be mega happy with the fact that like it should be quite straightforward to reproduce. Now at that point I will do a proper full how-to guide about it, and not just a quick flash through on how I go about doing it. Anyways, yeah, so let us know in the comments what you think of this, because I'm actually really made up with it. Oh yeah, and just on a quick note as well, I have tried the capsules out of 6 different little small video microphones. Now you might say it's just purely down to personal taste, but I actually really love the sound out of the RODE VideoMicro, hence why I've kind of stuck with its capsule. Although if I do find any other capsules where, you know, it's not that expensive to buy them and then put them into something like this, I'll definitely recommend it. But for now, this is the one that I'm going to recommend. And also, you know, whilst it might appear to be a little bit kind of costly to do something like this, because you've obviously got to buy a RODE VideoMicro to take its capsule out and stuff, the end microphone if it does the job that you want it to do and it sounds great, I'm fairly sure that if you end up having to pay about 50-60 quid for something like that, as in buy the VideoMicro and then buy the extra bits, for that kind of money, if it does its job properly and it does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it kind of gets you out of all that mess with things dropping into the field of view, I'd say that was money well spent. Anyway, so let us know in the comments what you think of all this, or whether or not I'm just going completely bark and mad doing these microphones. Anyways, I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.